Good afternoon, everyone. We're gonna go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome everyone to coming out to the Third District Community Organization meeting today. We'll start with prayer. I'm gonna lead the prayer by calling my good friend Pastor Jones to come in, and I will ask that Pastor Jones to come and lead us in prayer.
Eternal God, our fathers, again, we come now in the name of Jesus. And as we come, Father, we thank you for the privilege of assembly. We praise and thank you for people like Ms. Brown and our Councilman Brewer. We thank you and we pray that you will grant us a fruitful meeting. In the mighty, marvelous name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Well, Fran Bush is not here, so I just want to say, first of all, as usual, I want to thank everyone for coming. I thank you all for being here. Our mayor is our guest speaker this evening. He's not here yet, but there's several department heads here, and I'm going to ask someone to introduce all the department heads who are here. But before I start, everybody knows Councilman Brewer, so he's here. And then our Councilwoman-elect, stand up. I want everybody to tie active. We are so glad to have you, Ty. Thank you so much for coming. Okay, and so we're just gonna start on the end, let everybody introduce themselves. Okay.
Chief Allen, Sheriff's Department. Chief Allen, Sheriff's Department.
Good evening, Nancy Fitzgerald Williams, Director of the City of Gary Recycling Department.
Hello, I'm Brian Colbert, Commander of Special Operations for the Gary Police Department.
Good evening, my name is Jackie Rosario Perdo. I'm the interim building commissioner.
Good evening, I'm Cedric Kirkendall, Demolition Coordinator.
Good evening, I'm James Stanton, Deputy Chief of Gary Fire Department.
Good evening, LaShawn Brooks, Director of the Mayor's Office Constituent Services.
AJ Bittner, Executive Director of the Gary Redevelopment Department.
What is your name?
AJ. AJ Bittner.
And we have
Hotel LeBroy, Director of Public Works.
And I follow, okay.
Arlene Collins, Director of Community Development. Lalo Severus, Director of Communications.
Okay, I thank everybody for coming. I'm gonna give most of them an opportunity to say something for a few minutes. I don't know, LaShawn, well, let's start with the 5x5 cleanup, okay? Everybody got a flyer for the 5x5 community cleanup. We wanna talk about that because the area that we're targeting this year is really bad. Over by the old nursing home on Clark Road, Matthew Street, 21st, close to 21st to Clark Road. Yeah, so that's the area that we're concentrating on. So I'm gonna let LaShawn talk about that.
Thank you, Councilwoman Brown. You want to say something?
Who is that, please? Mr. Smith, Mr. Robert Smith, where is he?
Right here. Raise your
I want you to introduce yourself, Mr. Robert Smith from Code Enforcement, because everybody wants to know who you are. So, this is our Code Enforcement Officer, Mr. Robert Smith. I know he's been here before, but I want you to.
I have cards back on the table, so if y'all want to take it, my phone number, my email, y'all can contact me that way.
I got you already.
And we also have our audit,
Christine Williams, audit manager.
Oh, the pool is open, you guys, so.
And we have school classes on Wednesdays and Thursdays, 11:30 to 12 and 5:30 to 6. Is it for children or adults as well? It's five and up. So if you want age 5 and up, adults can come to
Okay.
Thank you, Councilwoman. As we begin the discussion with our 5x5x5, which is so I can explain what exactly a 5x5x5 is.
is a program, an initiative that started back in 2012, where we go out for 5 weeks. We take 5 blocks, and we pay attention to concerns that came to us through our 311, just as well as the 15 minutes with the mayor that some of you may have had, or other citizens that had. We also focus on the data that is shared with us from the police department as it relates to any type of crime that has taken place in the area. So that is how we determine what area that we are going in to focus. And as you heard the councilwoman speak in regards to the area that we are going in is heavily blighted, with an abandonment is in the area just as well. So we actually, the team, several members that are present today, we did a walk around in that community early part of April, mid-April, one rainy day. And we walked to see the concerns that was in the neighborhood, and we did an assessment of that. And now is the scheduled time that was for the 3rd District for us to come in, and we will be focusing from 15th to 21st Avenues, from Clark Road to Matthews Place, which we know that's a large area that is, again, is so much dumping that has taken place in that area, just as well as overgrown of weeds and grass that is in the area. So we are strongly encouraging and want to engage any residents. You do not have to live in that direct area, but if you can come out and assist us with, more so what we ask about is assisting us with just picking up things that are hidden in the blight, that provides a smoother transition for general services to go in and cut, versus them spending the time picking up trash. But that's what we can do. Volunteers can just collect things. We take the tires out, set them up for those to be picked up, and just collect. And I always try to do a challenge and see who can get a garbage bag full of debris, and we sit that on the corner, and general services come and pick that up for us once we finish. That will be on August 1st, where we will hug. Because the weather has been on our side, so we do a pop-up tent now, where we will be sitting on the corner of 21st and Clark Road, adjacent to the VFW post that's over there. So the AMVETS, we will be out in that area there. That is also a good time for us to collect. We put dumpsters out, so anything, our alley team is out there just as well to assist us with clearing any alleys and things. So we really, really strongly encourage not only volunteers, but if there is a block club or you're interested in forming a block club, this is the best time to do that, because once we clean up, we need the residents to assist us with sustaining that area from getting high with high weeds and grass again. So that's what we have in regards to. Each department can tell you as we go through what their responsibility and their focus will be as we go through the those 5 weeks and the 5x5. But I do want to strongly inform you that when we say we out there for 5 weeks, that does not mean that general services is out there cutting lots for 5 weeks. They have a schedule that they will put based off on the needs that is in the area and other tasks that they have throughout the city. And it may be that they say Wednesday and Thursday we in that area, and as much time as it takes them to finish their task within that 5 weeks. But what we do say is in that 5 weeks, you will see some type of city department or some city services that's out there. Maybe recycling, checking to see if everybody have recycling bins. It could be Mr. Smith with code enforcement, and sometimes when we do the 5x5, they come with the full team assisting and doing tagging cars or writing up citations or warnings for persons that are in violation. So it is a lot that we can do within those 5 weeks. So just wanna make sure everyone understands it's not necessarily that you will see that there is grass being cut or debris and things being taken away, but we do have a schedule that will be in place based off of their needs of, getting the work done.
Okay, thank you. That is a very, very blighted area. And as most of you know, it is behind the old nursing home on Clark Road. And it is really, really bad. So we really need to pay some special attention to that area. Our councilman at large, Mr. Mike Brown just joined us. Come on up, Mr. Brown. We're glad to have you. Yeah. I want to, when we get through this, I want to give you and our Councilwoman-elect Ty Atkins an opportunity just to say a couple of words to our people. We're just glad to have you, okay? So, cause we got work to do. We got work for everybody to do. So, we are just delighted to have you. Sitting to my immediate left is the person who replaced Joe Van Dyke. Do you guys remember Joe Van Dyke? He come to our meetings. Okay, this is his replacement, AJ. Why don't you introduce yourself and just say a couple of things?
Sure.
About what you do.
AJ Bittner, I'm the new executive director of the redevelopment department. As you guys may or may not be aware, the redevelopment department is the main kind of land bank for the city of Gary, and we tackle tax sale properties as well as properties that may be donated to us. We also affect the ability for the redevelopment and economic development of the city itself to manage the allocation areas, which are often called the TIF districts, and any type of large kind of economic development deal. Before it ever gets to the city council, we work and negotiate those deals with the individual property owners. The department has been working on the U.S. deal in coordination with the majority of the departments within the city, as well as liaison with the city council to work that through, as well as previously the Alliance Steel deal, TMD2, things of that nature. We also work and do project management on a lot of the projects that the city has local match in. For example, paving that's going on for Buckingham Harbor Road, as well as the Airport Road current phase. So if you're the person that's been taking care of a side lot for years and years and years, and it's owned by the city, chances are you've worked with the staff within our department to help you acquire that piece of property, or if there's parcels that you're looking for that have, around the corner, whatever the city owns, you'll also coordinate through our department through the public process for an RFP or for a bid sale of traditional, other pieces of property. And then if there's other, kind of opportunities for redevelopment, that is primarily what we do. And our focus is kind of getting these parcels from being government owned to being owned by private owners and being tax productive and ultimately being a benefit to the community rather than a detriment.
Thank you. I want to, before we move on to the other department heads, I want to give my colleague, Mike Brown, an opportunity just to say a couple words. We're glad, as I said, we're glad to have you. We got work for everybody, let me tell you. This is the 3rd district, and we got work for everybody. This is Councilman at large, Mike Brown.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. I want to thank you for getting the opportunity to come before you. I want to thank Councilwoman Brown because she's the leader of the council, the Gary County Council. Her experience, don't make it serious. Her experience has kept a lot of us grounded, including myself. So I want to thank her for her leadership. I'm just as a lead. I'm honored to serve in the capacity of the councilman at large. We've only been there since December. We've got a lot of work to do. We're going to continue to work for you. You can't do the work unless we get your directions. So that's why I came here, is because I run across the city, citywide. I want to go to every district that I can, follow the leadership of the person in charge of that district, and follow what your needs are. I want to thank you so much. I'm looking forward to continue to serve you. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you. Okay. This is our councilwoman, the new councilwoman-elect for the 4th district. If you want to say a couple words.
I'll just step out right here. One, I'm thankful to be here as well. As you all know, I am councilwoman-elect for the 4th district. And I think it's very important as we try to progress the city of Gary to a new front. It's very important for your leaders to come together. So I want to take the opportunity to learn from Councilwoman Brown, and also, as you all know, the 4th District borders the 3rd District in a lot of the different areas in terms of I guess we would call them the corridors of the 3rd District, right? So we want to make sure that we are mimicking the upkeep that is happening in the 3rd District into the 4th as well, because you all have done an exceptional job in terms of upkeeping and showing your community involvement. So anything that I can do, if you all are on those border, I would say streets, if you will, where you see there's opportunities for the 4th District to learn from you guys, please make sure that you are leveraging me as a new contact as we move forward in leadership.
So, thank you. Okay. We'll start down there at the end with the health department. Okay?
So good evening, everyone. My name is Shirley Hawkins from Gary Health Department.
Can't hear you, Shirley.
Excuse me?
Do we have a mic?
Can't hear you.
You don't have a mic.
Good evening, my name is Shirley Hawkins. I'm from the Gary Health Department. And today I brought you some information that you should want to read on mosquitoes. So please, before you leave, take some from the table for your neighbors.
Yeah, please, everybody, take one of those. That's for the mosquito abatement. They're spraying for the mosquitoes. So make sure that you get a copy of that so you know where they're spraying in your area. Okay? All right.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Chief Allen of the Police Department. I'm glad to be here. I love serving this city, which I was born and raised in. It was the greatest city anywhere in the world, no matter what people say. We have some of the greatest citizens in the city. Also, I'm pleased to announce that today we were able to swear in 7 new police officers in the city. 5 of them will be attending the Northwest Indiana Law Enforcement Academy next month. 2 of them are already state certified, so once they complete their field training, they will be out on the street. The more officers that we have, the better that we can serve. Hopefully we can get some more. We hope that we can get more of our young men and women from within the city to take an interest not only in the police department but also public safety as a fire department, because we want our young people to stay within the city. So with the addition of those, we will be able to better serve you. And we have some things. I think I mentioned it before at one of the last meetings. Reporting. You can now report some of the crimes that you have or some incidents that occur online. So if you go to the City of Gary website, you go to the police department, it'll prompt you to do what you have to do so you can make reports online. So those are some of the things that's taking place. That'd be very good.
Thank you. Thank you. We do have some water in the freezer, so if anybody wants water, Adrian would be happy to. She'll be happy to, right? Make sure that everybody gets some water. So, I know I'd like to have some. Okay. Okay.
Good evening. Once again, I'm Maxie Fitzgerald Williams, and I would just be working with the 5x5, signing up residents for our recycling program. It's very important that each household has a recycling bin and participate in this program to help save our environment. So we will be going door to door, giving free recycling bins out to the residents of the city. And if you have a larger family, we do have the larger green bins available at no cost to the citizens of Erie. I also urge the citizens to partake in our free shredding program. You can shred at 900 Madison Street 3 days out of the week. Bring your personal documents in, and you can wait while we shred in front of you. So those 3 days is Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at 900 Madison Street. If you have any more questions about the shredding program, you can give us a call at 882-8445 extension 3. Thank you.
I'd just like to say briefly that I think that our recycling department does a great job. They do for me. I just want to say that. Betsy, I just want to give you a shout out. You guys do an excellent job.
Thank you.
Our mayor just walked in, so wanna come on up here? Okay, we're ready for you. We're ready.
Well, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone. We've been running from meeting to meeting all afternoon, thank you, and I want to first thank Councilwoman Brown for hosting this meeting and for her flexibility, and to all of you all for your flexibility. We know that the 3rd District group is a very, very active and supportive, and you are a group who pays attention.
Yes.
So, to come out and talk to you, and actually, you guys are doing what I intended for us to do. You don't need to hear from me, you need to hear from the folks that are doing work every day. And you know, I want to use this as an opportunity to thank you for using 311. How many of you all have us on speed dial? And I also want to thank our team for the work that they do, because, you know, they work very hard and they don't always have the resources to get it done, but they are always committed to doing what needs to be done to do a job. With most of these folks, I'm on the line at 7 or 7:15. We have a 7 o'clock call, we have a 7:15 call. On Wednesdays, we have a 7:30 call, and on Thursdays, we have a 7:30 call. And that's all contemplated to improve the way that we deliver services to the citizens. So with that, I'm going to continue to allow folks to just talk about any changes that they have, any work that they have underway, and to also, because I know that LaShawn is also using this, and Councilwoman Brown are using this as a way of kind of laying the groundwork for where the 5x5 is going to be in the 3rd District, because I think they're next up. All right? Okay. So that's all I have.
For the moment.
And I'm here to answer any questions that you have.
Okay. Okay, down there.
Hello, once again, I'm Brian Colbert. I'm the Commander of Special Operations for the Gary Police Department. My role here is to assist in the 5x5x5 cleanup program. So basically what's gonna happen, I'll have officers out in your neighborhoods towing abandoned vehicles. They'll be available to address anyone that has any concerns in reference to any criminal activity in your neighborhood. You'll be able to talk to an officer face to face, and we'll see what response we can generate and what we can get out of that. And I'm also here to talk to you all individually after the meeting in case you have any additional concerns.
Good evening. As stated before, my name is Jackie Rosario Purtle. I'm the interim building commissioner. And the building department assists 5x5x5 in these areas. Code enforcement comes out and cites any violations that they may find during 5x5x5. We have a rental registration coordinator that will run the perimeter with the addresses to see if those houses are rental properties, and if so, the notice will be sent out to that property owner. And then also with our building inspectors, we go around and make sure that every property that is permitted is, they are doing the work in that scope of the permit that they applied for and was issued.
Good evening. My name is Cedric Kirkendall again, and I'm the demolition coordinator for the city. And in the 5x5, we are targeting, there's a collapsed building on 19th and Matthews Place. I think the address is 2037 Matthews Place. We'll be demolishing that, and there's 2 burnout properties on 20th and 21st and Clark Road. We'll target those as well. In that footprint, the area for the 5x5, we'll go out and investigate what properties need boarding up. We board up properties first floor and basement levels only, and the windows and doors that are broken out and missing. So we'll go through that area and see which properties need to be secured. Also, early early August, through middle of September. 1045 and 1055 Wright Street is scheduled for demolition. 1557 Hendricks, 2010 Wickham, 2045 and 2055 Marshall. Those two properties have, I've received a lot of complaints for those, so I'm specifically mentioning those because the ghost people may be here today. But we have to do an unsafe building hearing for those properties. Those properties are not emergencies. We have to order title searches, bring those citizens into a unsafe building hearing and determine what their interest is with the property. If they don't have any interest or they don't show, we get it ordered demolished, then we can proceed with demolition provided that there are funds. But that's the first step with those two properties. 1233 Ellsworth Street is scheduled for demolition in September. 1649 and 1702 West 9th Avenue. We're waiting for approval through ICRA to move forward with demolition on those properties as well. And just some additional numbers. From 2011 to the present, we've demolished 1,322 properties. There's been 178 properties demolished in the 3rd District. Out of that 1,322, 528 properties were demolished using hardest hit funds. Of the 528, 61 properties were demolished in the 3rd District. And in 2019, we've demolished 96 properties to date, and 12 of those properties are in the 3rd District. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is James Stanton. I'm the Deputy Chief of the Garrett Fire Department. I'm also a former resident of Charleston area. Matter of fact, Councilwoman Brown, my mom still lives on 1200 block of Marshall Street. How you doing, Mom? She watches. That's cute. So, I would just like to say, the Garrett Fire Department, a lot of us think of us as just a department that just put out fire. No, we do more than that. Our part that we play in the 5x5 is that we get out in partnership with the other department heads, and we get out there and help pick up the paper and cut the grass, because this is our community also. Also, while we're out, we have door knockers that we hang on each resident's door to inform them of the safety of having smoke detectors and CO. We also give them out free, so if anyone's interested in receiving a smoke detector, we don't have the carbon monoxide part of it, but we do have free smoke detectors. So if you are interested in receiving it, you can call us at 219-881-5220. Once again, 219-881-5220. And on top of that, when you call us, we will come out and install it for you. Wow. So we're here to serve the community. We're not just about putting out fires. We're here to do whatever we can to help the citizens of the area.
Is that everybody down that in? Okay, I didn't get Clotilde.
Hi, again. I'm Clotilde Leroy, and the General Services Division falls under the Public Works Department. So for us, when we're out there doing the 5x5, we do have two pothole crews. They're patching that will be out there. We also have a garbage truck that will be picking up any bulk items as well as clearing dump sites. We have a debris crew. We also have a tree cutting crew. So all of those resources will be out there in the 5x5. We also kind of cover the surrounding areas as well. We have the city mapped out in different areas, so we'll get like some of the surrounding areas around the 5x5 and clean up those items as well. We also look at the 301 calls that we've received. So if we see those, we'll pull those out as well, and all of your 301s will be addressed during that time while we're in this area. So that's what we're doing for the 5x5 and the surrounding areas with the 5x5.
Thank you. I think I saw, did I see Mr. Cossey here? Okay, I think you'll be very happy where the 5x5 is in your area. Are you aware of that?
I heard him mention one of the properties
I think he got a phone call to that.
The cleanup is in your
Yeah,
area.
well, I talked to him, all
Yeah.
but he did mention one property that, belonged to, but I was going to ask, and since I'm up, are they gonna do any of the other properties, especially on that side of the street? Because there are some that have been vacant for over 10
Okay.
years.
Well, that area's been neglected for such a long time, and so we wanted, I had talked to LaShawn, and she had asked me about some areas in the third district, and we try to, each year that we do the 5x5, we try to target a different area. And I know that that area has been neglected for such a long time, and so we wanted to do something over in that area. And as I said, most of you know where it is, it's over there by where the old nursing home used to be on 21st Clark Road. So, you know, that's your area, that's your precinct.
Can I ask a couple other questions, then you'll be through with me?
Right.
Are they gonna do the street anytime? Because that street has never been done in the 40 years that I've been living there.
Mayor?
So we are currently on Main Streets. We just did a bid and received the results of the bid a couple of weeks ago. That is all contingent on dollars, but I can tell you unequivocally that there are no side streets in that bid. What we tried to do is take the main streets in the order of the worst to the best. Well, in the order of the worst in terms of need. And we are probably, I'd say 60% of the way through those mains, but that means there's still 40% left of the main streets to do before we get to the side streets. What we have done is in those instances where side streets are more like dirt roads, we have actually done paving. And so we'll take a look at your street, Reverend Kasi, but unless it's like a dirt road, then I think the answer is no.
Well, it has so many holes in it.
You understand? I live on a street just like that. And I've not paved my street. And, you know, if we were gonna jump ahead, I would put myself in front of that line. I'm just being straightforward. I could sit here and say, well, maybe it might happen, but we just don't. I mean, it's all related to dollars.
But then, can they patch it?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, because they've patched some around it, but they have not patched that street of 21st Avenue from Matthews to Clark Road. And I think the embarrassing part about it, we had a funeral there and they had a bunch of limos and they had they looked like boats going through there because they were rocking so, and that was question one. Question two, the park, are they gonna do anything with that park?
Yeah, that's all a part of the 5x5. Yes, sir. I thought you had 3 questions. I thought you had 3 questions.
But you answered all of them.
Oh, okay, all right.
What I want to do, what I hope to do, and we would have to get started hopefully sometime this year. I know some of you here remember when we used to have the 3rd District community like picnic, and we would take the whole park and have a picnic.
Yes.
And so we'd like to do that again next year. Of course, can't do it this year, but we'd like to do that again next year. And I need to, you know, select some people who are willing to work on that committee. I'm going to ask Denise Crowther, one, and some other people, Bernice Willis, some other people to work with us, Maxine, to work with us on this. You'll work with us as well, good. We want to do something like that in our community. We can do it, we've done it before, and it was a huge success, so we want to do it again. But we have to start pretty soon. You know, we have to start pretty soon. You know, they do something similar to that in the 1st District. We can do that in our district. As I said, we've done it before, and it was a huge success. So we'd like to do it again, but I'm gonna need your help. So, those of you who want to help, you can see my assistant Karen in the back and sign up, and we will start meeting and start talking about doing something like that. Now, any more questions for the mayor? Yes.
Okay, my name is Lois Johnson, I live 1529 Oak Street. We got some holes in there, and I'd just like to know, when are they going to fix that street?
As in the filling of the potholes?
Yeah.
We can add that to 311, so we can do that, yes, ma'am. You wanna know a date?
Yes, I do.
Well, you know what, I can tell you today is, July 22nd. We should be able to get that done by August 1st.
Okay, good, but now I have another question. You know that stuff they put down, that don't last too long. You think you all fix the street, blacktop it, or do something?
Well, no, we can't blacktop it, but what we can do, if we did it before, earlier in the year, they probably used cold patch. Now we get hot patch, which lasts a little longer, but with the amount of rain that we got in May and June, a lot of that washed away. But we'll try, we'll work on it really hard this time. Okay. Not that they didn't work on it hard before, but, you know, now that you've raised that issue.
Okay, you said August and what?
By August 1. Yes, ma'am. We're writing it down.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, well, now let me ask you this. Do you have a 311 request in? Have you called 881-1311?
No, I was just wondering when they gonna.
Okay, so we will put it in 311 for you, but here's the thing. A lot of times, people think we know, and we just don't know.
Well, that's okay, you
And,
know now.
yeah, now we know, yes ma'am, we know now, but my thing is, if you want something done, we really need you to call 881-1311, but you are absolutely right, we know now, and we're gonna handle it, we're gonna take care of it.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, Ms. Cora?
Okay, how you doing? I was wondering, I had called because there's a tree that stands between the street, you know, when you step up from the street, it's right there.
Yes, ma'am.
And I called because the tree is dead.
Yeah.
And my bus comes by, when the bus comes by, and she said, you know what, it's gonna fall on somebody. So I've been I called 311, and I told them, and they said, oh, somebody's gonna come up. I haven't seen, heard, nothing back there. But I don't want that tree to fall on someone or someone's car, because it's going to fall, because, I didn't know it, but, some people was out doing some yard work for me, and they said, this tree is dead, and it's, everything on it, there's nothing growing on it. It's all dead on that side, and I've called, and I've heard.
Yes, ma'am. We'll, what's the address?
Okay, my address is 1374, it's right out in front.
1374?
Ellsworth Street.
Ellsworth Street, okay, so it's not far at all?
No.
Okay, got it.
Michelle?
Hi there. Okay, so I've got two issues. One is I've put in the 311 system a while ago, and this was actually when Mr. Guy became the general service director, about the trees growing in the power lines.
Okay.
And now the trees are completely in the power lines where it's blocking out the street light, and every time there's a high wind, the power starts to go out. I've called NIPSCO, they say that you get no response. You tell them, unless it's an emergency, they don't come out. Like I did have a tree branch come out and hit the power line, they came out and took care of that. The second issue is having the fire hydrant serviced. It has never been serviced in the 23 years that I've been there. So I'm just concerned about it being serviced. I understand it's supposed to be serviced at some time.
That's directed toward me, right? I'm required. The water company service. Now, when you talk about service, or you mean trimming around it, cutting the grass, or just the function of it?
The function of it.
That's the water department.
Okay, so who do I contact at the water department to have it serviced? Because the last time, 2 years ago, you came out because it was buried in the snow when we had that deep snow and you dug it out. And from what I understood is that it was supposed to be serviced, but that never happened.
Get with me after this is over with, I got a number that I can give you. Okay? Thank you.
As it relates to the trees that where the power lines are grown, we can't cut them. In fact, NIPSCO forbids us from cutting those trees. And in fact, we're cutting them all over. In fact, we've been getting a lot of complaints where they've not only cut them, but they've left them. So we'll work with you to make sure that they get the ones in your area, because they are literally all over the city been cutting trees away from power.
It's never happened.
Okay, all right, we can follow up.
Question back here.
But we need the address.
4431 West 26th Avenue, closest street set, there.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Connie Maybone.
Stand up.
Stand up, okay. I live on the same street as Reverend Kazi, so I'm really happy that the 5x5 is coming in our area, because I have called so many department heads. Yeah. I didn't do the 311 much, but I did call. The dumping, is there anything we can do about that? Because I don't want the cleanup to be for naught. And the dumping is really a problem. And I know the city probably can't do cameras or anything like that. They probably can't have a police department to scour the area, but that is a big, big problem, especially from 21st and Clark Road to our street on Matthews. It's a lot of dumping. They've started dumping from 19th and Clark Road past Matthews. So I was just hoping that maybe something, they could look into that a little bit. I know at one of the other meetings, they were saying for the citizens, a lot of our residents on Matthews Street in that block, you know, we're seniors. And most of the dumping is happening at night when we're asleep.
How many, do you know how many of your neighbors have cameras?
No, I
Or
don't.
whether any of you or
Well,
your neighbors
some have like the motion detectors, but at that end, I'm really not sure. How many have cameras that would extend in order to see that?
Most of the people there, the older people have either moved on or passed away, and the properties have been bought up, and they rented them out. So they used to be all homeowners, but especially on the west side of the street, but there's only maybe about 10 homeowners now on that side of the street, so there's very few cameras there.
One of the things, we've been putting some cameras, and you're right, we don't have a lot of resources, but we've been putting some cameras in strategic locations, especially in heavy dumping areas. So we'll assess that when we're over there during the 311 to see if we might be able to put a camera up in that area. And the other thing is, I want to encourage you to use 311. We know that you call the departments. It really doesn't do anything but get funneled into the 311. So if you call 311, then it's likely to get into the system sooner. We're just really trying to get folks to use it.
Okay, I will. It has helped though, calling and speaking to somebody. Then I think most of the questions I had really have been answered. I was concerned about the potholes in the street, even at the 19th and Matthews. It's a church there on the corner. I took pictures there in my phone. They're like craters. They are really bad. And then when you go down a little further, right there where the Concord office is, I think that's Mount Street. Yes. It's about the same way. So I can understand not being able to get the blacktop and the paving, but if we could get some of that gravel stuff that you put in, sure, that would help a lot. Now on 15th, and this is, we used to own the house, but my daughter's in the house now. And this is from 17th and Clark Road going west. It's where that NIPSCO
Yes,
plant, I
power
think,
plant.
is.
Yes, ma'am.
My daughter has had to spend so much money because of the sewer or water, because right there in that area, the water, if you go past there now, anybody want, it's almost this high. And
This
it
is on
stays-
17th and Clark
It's
Road?
on 17th Avenue, right past Clark Road. And we have tried and tried to get, I don't know what it takes, but the water piles up with the slightest bit of rain. And we were told that they weren't going to invest in that because there's only one house right there from Clark Road to that next street. I'm not sure, that could be Mount. I'm not sure what that next street is. But there's a lot of homeowners on both sides. But there's only one house between Clark Road on 17th. It's right across from the Rosewood Apartments.
Okay.
And if you go through there even now, the slightest rain,
Yes, yes.
the, police car got stuck there one time and had to get towed out because of the rain.
We'll
And
get
that's
somebody-
that is a gravel road.
Yes, ma'am.
There's no pavement to it at all.
So we'll get someone out there and we'll get your name and number, because we can get someone out there tomorrow to
Okay.
actually take a look at it and then come up with a plan.
Okay, thank you.
Bella.
Yes, honestly, what they're doing, they're putting steel plates in the street, well, once they dig it up and whatever they're doing underneath there. Usually, they don't go back and do a smooth job because no steel plates, it's not really on the third district, it's all over the city what they're doing. They don't smooth over it like same thing like the railroad tracks, when they do the concrete and asphalt there, if you hit it and it's just rough, and it does some damage to sometimes to cars, those steel plates. I know they have to put it over there temporarily, but it seems like it's permanent that they're doing that. And the other thing is, they're cutting down these trees in the alley, and they're leaving all the wood there. I know they're on Wilder Street, so do they ever come back and get it up, do we
They're
have?
supposed to. What we're asking residents to do is to report it to us so that we'll know to follow up. What they're saying is that they do all the trees in the area and then they come back, but I think they're missing that comeback step in too many places.
And even though with the grass, when they do that, it should come back like they do in other areas and put reseed it or whatever, so the grass will grow, because they're throwing up some people's yards too. And that's not just the third district, it's all over.
Sure, yeah. Well, I mean, if they don't leave it, then they won't tear it up. And so
Pardon me?
our premise, if they don't leave the branches, they will not have torn it up. So we're really trying to get them to come back.
I appreciate all the hard work that you've been doing. You got a really daunting task, and I'm just so appreciative that you're all here. I know that you care. You wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have these meetings if you didn't care. I have a question and I have two compliments. The question is, are you at all concerned about the increased level of traffic from large trucks, semis, that are coming through the streets now? About 5 years ago, I could have laid down on Taft Street where I live and taken a nap and wouldn't have been in any kind of danger. And now, all day long, there are semis coming up and down Taft Street. They're even coming through the side streets. Sometimes if there's work being done on 25th or wherever it is, they'll come over to some of the other streets. And so I'm seeing this repeated, one area, I think it's 22nd and Taft, where the street sort of goes down like this, and I call 311, they come right out and they repair it, and then in a few more weeks, that same area will be down again. So I'm thinking that all of this increased traffic, and there is a lot of truck traffic through the area. Is there anything you can do about those size trucks coming through a residential area? And then the two compliments I have, Police Chief, back in October, my stepson was found dead in his house from cancer and heart problems and all that, and the police came out to help. And I can't say enough about how kind they were, how much they helped, and how supportive they were, and I really appreciated that. They even explained to a neighbor who was overly aggressive and wanted to come in that he wasn't allowed to do that, and they explained it to him in a way that he understood. And the recycling department, they are so kind. You go out and do the super shredding, and I wanted to thank you about that.
Thank you. So, as it relates to the paving, yes, we are concerned. It is one of the areas that is a constant problem, and you see the result already. It's on 25th Avenue. When we first paved, the trucks that missed the turn into Pilot, they come and they just tear things up on both the east and west side of First Street. The other source of concern is what you talked about in terms of Chase Street, Taft Street, the other streets. A lot of them are trying to avoid backups on both 8094 and the toll road. Our best tool is enforcement. On any given shift, there are only 1 or 2 traffic officers, and that's what challenges us, because of course you really almost have to have a person posted there. Now, you know, what we believe, and the chief can speak to this, is a lot of times if you have somebody posted a couple of days, stationed somewhere a couple of days, the news gets around. And so we're hoping that perhaps we can handle it that way, but Chief, you wanna?
Yes, we can, especially in those areas. I know, as the mayor stated, actually, ISP will sometimes direct when there's backups on 8094, they'll direct traffic off of 8094 onto thoroughfares to get them around and back up. But what we can do is, in those areas where it's possibly a lot of high levels of semi-traffic, we can periodically put some officers out there to monitor that traffic. With the different flow, especially there's more truck traffic on the roads now than ever before. There's a call for even more semi-drivers. So that's why we're seeing a lot of increase in the traffic. Not making an excuse, but that's one of the reasons. So what we can do is, command coach test Brooklyn, more officers out there. Truck traffic is one of the biggest growing industries. So they're trying to get around not only traffic backups and trying to avoid being stopped by motor carriers. So those are some things. And if you see that, if you can give us a call if there's a particular day when there's a large number of traffic, just give us a call and send a traffic unit over there to try to adjust some of those traffic.
Is that the general police number? Non-emergency?
Yes, ma'am. The non-emergency number is 660-0000.
My question is, with the construction that's going on and the tearing up of the sidewalks, is there an ETA for them to come back and repave it and make it smooth? I see a lot of them have been torn up and they have the gravel down there. So my question is, how long will the gravel stay there, or do they have a time set that they will come back and repave the sidewalk?
They actually file that with Public Works. And so, whenever there's something torn up, if you call 311 and say, I wanna know what the time limit is for them to complete it, then they will know. I had that same experience. There was a fire hydrant that was dug up in the winter, and I actually forgot, and then I just mentioned it to them, and they came and they fixed it. But, you know, now, this was the water company, they ought to do that automatically, but a lot of times if you don't require it, they won't do it.
So, but I'm talking about new construction and tearing up all this stuff, and I'm glad that they're putting new lines and stuff down.
Right.
But I see quite a few, before they get to my house, I need to know I'm clumsy, I don't want to fall. So I need to know what is the turnaround time for them to fix it.
And that's the plan that they file with Public Works. So they should, we don't know that off the top of our heads, but there should be a work plan that is currently in Public Works where, now, that's something, I wouldn't even route you through the 311. I try to be strict about it, but if you call Public Works, then they can take a look, the engineer would take a look at that and tell you, okay, one, this is the turnaround time that they've suggested.
All right, thank you. Oh, yes, Councilman Mary Brown, I would like to know.
I can't hear you. Stand up. So we can hear
My name is Flora Washington, and I'm, live on 15th and Calhoun Street. And I know this is not in your 5x5 and 5x5 plan, our area, but I would like to, bring it to your attention. I don't know if I should have went through 311 or what, but Ivanhoe School, I don't know in whose hand it belongs, if it's the, city's business or school district, whoever is over the school district, they're supposed to be keeping that infrastructure right up in there, clean Ivanhoe School, as far as keeping the grass cut along the, even the city part of the sidewalk and everything. And they're also dumping in Ivanhoe School. There are couches, mattresses, and everything else. So we would like to know who is responsible for the school yard. And if they do their job, do the job well. When we moved into the area 40-some years ago, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that 10 years ago. But the last 5 years, since it has been neglected, totally neglected, our neighborhood has really went down. And so I just want to know, who do I address this to? 311, the mayor's office, or school city?
So that property is owned by the school corporation, and we have frequent conversations with them about that. I know Councilwoman Brown does, and they should have, because I know they have a new contractor. They should, so they haven't cut Ivanhoe at all?
They whacked it. Do you know? It's not cut, it's not manicured like it was when the school was functioning.
Right, they're not
Okay?
going to, I don't know that they will ever manicure it, but I do know, because I just happened to run into the contractor, that he's going to cut it again. Because we had a discussion about Horace Mann, that same discussion about Horace Mann.
Well, he has not cut around, okay, okay, you're supposed to have so-called public,
The easement.
yeah, the
Yes, ma'am.
easement and everything,
Mhm.
all the way down, because it starts from Jerry Street, 15th and Jerry Street, it goes all the way down to 15th and Colfax, then it goes all the way around to almost 9th Avenue,
Yes, ma'am.
okay? The fence has been taken down, you all, those campaign, posters that you all put up,
Yes, ma'am.
they put the posters up on the fence, okay? And I don't know how they put them up, but because of the, you got a lot of high weeds and stuff. Trees need to come down, everything. So who do I address that to?
To the school corporation.
To the school
Yeah,
corporation?
that's the school's property.
Well, I heard that it had been bought.
No, ma'am, not
Ivanhoe School has not been bought.
No, ma'am.
So in other words, you as the mayor do not have anything to do with the school system.
That's right. I don't have any authority.
How can
over
that
the
be
school.
corrected for the new mayor?
Legislation. That
Is
would
that
be-
a state thing?
Yeah, that's state legislation. You have separate, school governing versus, city.
Well, how come you can't take over? Hammond took over their school system. The city of Hammond took over their school system.
No, the city of Hammond didn't take over their school system. There's still a superintendent and a school board.
Well, when do they have their meetings?
On Tuesdays, they have it on Is it the second and fourth Tuesday? Yeah, the second and fourth Tuesday. And also, we can give you some information, because there is, so our school is under an emergency manager. So there's, Pete Maricas, but there's also a woman, Courtney Schaafsma, down in Indianapolis, that is very good about responding to citizens when they have concerns like the ones that you've expressed. So what we'll do is, I tell you what we'll do. Do you use email?
No.
Okay, well, what we'll do is we'll, contact her on your behalf and include your information and ask her to reach out to you.
Okay.
And we'll contact them both.
Right,
Yeah.
right, cause I know they had, this, what'd you say, these, new people that came in, they took over, state took over?
Yes.
Okay, when they had those people there, how come those people didn't do something for the schools that has been closed down and neglected?
The new emergency managers, that's why I'm
Right.
talking about contacting on your behalf.
Why is it that they don't go around and drive around the city just like the rest of the people supposed to and see what needs to be done and report it to the proper department head so that it can be taken care of?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and as far as the code enforcer is, what is the purpose of a code enforcer? I would like to know, what is the purpose of a code enforcer?
You want me to answer it?
Well, you got a code enforcer here, and they're underneath.
You're on.
Yeah, we're gonna take one more question and then that's gonna be it. Oh, okay. We're just gonna, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am, the purpose of code enforcement is to go around and see if there's any violations, with the property. Our intention is to talk to you to let you know what is going on, for you to correct the violation. If that doesn't happen, then a citation happens, and it may go to court.
Well, I haven't seen it.
Have you
See,
reported it?
there is a whole lot of code enforcers, and I don't see nothing happen. I don't see
Ma'am, do you
that
ever
happen.
use or report concerns like that to 881-1311?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so
But
what we
maybe I
can
need
do,
to report it to, what you say, 1313?
881-1311.
Oh, I have reported to, 1311.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll pull those concerns that you've reported and we'll address them.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. You're Brown.
Sir.
I'm sorry, oh, if I can stand up, let me just sit down, it's hard for me to stand up. Lester Williams, right down the street here, 1766 Ellsworth Place. First of all, I wanna thank you for all the things that you do and have done over your past 2 terms here at Gary. Because it can't happen overnight by itself. You've been instrumental, you've gotten a team of people together to help make some of these things happen. And I want to first of all thank you for that. And also Mary Brown for all the things that you're doing to try to keep the 3rd District running. I do have 2 questions and I do use 311 often for anything that I've seen, not only in my area, everywhere around Gary, which is really something that they need to know. If they don't know, how can they fix this? You can't assume that these things get fixed if they don't know. But my first question I have for you is concerning the stop and go lights. Because I've seen multiple incidents at different intersections because all we have is these stop signs. And the stop signs, some people that are from the area may be familiar, but the people that don't live within the area are not familiar, and they're finding themselves in altercation. I understood, at least once upon a time, I understood maybe a year or so ago that there was some type of a grant that was given to the city to help restart some of the stop and go light programs. And I don't know if that's something that is going to happen this year, next year, or if it's even slated somewhere in there that we can make sure that these things can happen. That's the first part of the question, and I've actually called and I've also talked with someone concerning, we have a manhole cover right in the middle of our alley that's cracked, and I've never seen a steel manhole cover cracked like this one, and it was reported about 2.5 months ago, and it needs to be replaced.
Okay. We can get the location of that manhole cover, and, did you report it into 311 already? So we
Yes,
can
and
pull that
also
out.
I had the people that were going around, checking the lines for the gas line and all, they also reported it too.
The gas line folks?
Well, it's, what is it, Means, I think it is?
Mead?
Yeah, Mead, yes. I
Yeah.
know they also reported it too.
Okay. Well, we'll get the address again to just track it. The other is that, as it relates to the stoplights, there wasn't a grant. What you probably heard was the awarding of a contract, and we had to have a way to pay for it. So now what has just happened is that some of the dollars that we get from the state for motor vehicle highway funds, it's been earmarked for a certain purpose. And part of that is for lighting contracts. So there's about $400,000 that has just gone out. Is that correct, Clotilde?
It's about 400,000. We are repairing 17 traffic signals. I was trying to pull it up on my phone to see which ones in this area that we were actually gonna repair. We do have a contract out for, with Midwestern Electric to also repair and to get lights up and running or to maintain, certain street lights and traffic lights. But we are repairing 17. Hopefully I can pull it up on my phone and I can share those with you all. I believe there are some in this area that we are repairing. They have stop signs on them, but I'm trying to pull it up on my phone.
And some of those are going to be just decommissioned.
Correct.
Because remember, you've got stop signs that were, or you've got lights in a lighting system, a traffic lighting system that was designed for almost 200,000 people. And not necessarily that many cars, everybody didn't have a car, but many more cars than we now have. So some of them will be maintained, but a lot of those stoplights will be just decommissioned. I want to go back over, ma'am, tell me your name again.
My name?
Yes, ma'am.
Laura Washington.
Okay, Ms. Washington. I want to go back to Mrs. Washington's comment because she talked about riding around. Aren't people riding around?
Everybody riding around. You got policemen riding around, you got your people that's sitting up here riding around, unless you live in your own little space and stay there. Gary is a big city.
And you just said,
It's a big city.
Gary is a
That's
huge
right.
city.
That's right.
And you are talking about a group of people, a department, and I'm talking about general services right now.
That's right.
And there used to be 400 people that worked in general services. Right now, there are 28 people. And that doesn't include the folks that may be on vacation on a different week. So what we do is we, every morning, talk about what each person is gonna do. You may have 2 crews on potholes. Then you'll have a crew cleaning a dump site. You'll have a crew cutting trees. You'll have a crew, and they're all over the city. And so they really don't, they're not in a position. There are times that they are going from the job to the site where they'll see things and they'll note it. But we really are dependent on citizens to assist by simply telling us what they see.
We do. People do tell
Right.
the citizen of what is going on, but
Yes,
when
ma'am.
you see it, things not happening like they should within a reasonable amount of time.
Okay.
It's just like I was saying about Ivanhoe School.
Yes, ma'am.
In the last 5 years, if that landscaping has been cut, then I am 7 feet tall.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? And the ones that, and like I say, they little so-called contractors, he cut it one time last year, but he didn't cut it. He raked over it. So I don't know if it's the thing he was driving, needed to be sharpened or what. But either way, there was no, he couldn't have been satisfied with his work. It must have
So
been
it
all
wasn't
about
this
the
year
money.
that it was cut? It was last
Last week.
Okay, last week, so it
Last
did
week
get cut.
after-
So you must be 7-1.
No, you have to come and see how it looks.
No, I know it looks bad, cause I saw Horse Man, but
You have to see, it has not been cut all around like it's supposed to.
Yes, ma'am.
Those young people from West Side High School, they used to could, like the football teams and track teams, they used to could go around and say the sidewalk, you could see it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, doing their activities, you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Now they got to run in the doggone street because of high weeds and stuff, trees that's on the side of, like I say now, you say that's not the city's responsibility, but the weeds that's grown up like trees, within Ivanhoe's, property.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? And whoever, they can't get through. Whoever the contractor is, he needs general services right behind him while he mow that lawn.
Okay, all right, I think we're done.
We are done too, because we're tired of
I
looking
think
at
we're
it.
done. I want to certainly thank everybody for coming out. I just want to thank the mayor and all the department heads for being here. I want to remind everybody again about the 5x5 program, August 1st. And I still need to get some volunteers for the idea I have for the picnic in the park for next year. So once again, I thank everybody for coming. If you have your agenda, our next regular meeting date is September 9th. So thank you very much.
And if individuals have any questions, we'll stick around for a few minutes.
I have another question. I have another question. For Mayor Brown.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wait a minute, we got something that's really important.
I'm sorry.
We have a census coming up in 2020. So we have a census that's coming up in 2020. And the importance of the census is that it helps us to get community development block grant money, our highway transportation money, other entitlement that we get from both the state and federal government. It also determines what the largest city in the county is. And you may recall last year that we were 400 people smaller than Hammond. And what that does is it really helps to determine who has certain seats on city and county economic development boards, and that will be important to the next mayor and any mayor after that. So I want to encourage, we have a complete count committee to get the complete count of the census. We want to encourage everyone that gets a form or has somebody call them or is, they're going to do a lot of the census online. And so we're going to be helping our residents to complete them because we know that a lot of people aren't online here as in other communities. But I just want you to start thinking about, start talking about whether it's your church groups, and if you're looking for somebody to come and talk to your church group, or if you're looking for somebody to come and talk to your community group, or any other group, we need you to complete the census. The other thing is that on July 27th, this coming Saturday, is our back to school giveaway. Railcat Stadium starts at 8 o'clock. Not only are we doing school supplies, we're doing immunizations, we're doing haircuts, we're doing fingernails, we're doing, information that will help young people who are going back to school, physicals. They're doing physicals for those who require physicals to get back to school. And finally, on Tuesday, August 6th, the Common Council, myself, and the Public Safety Division are presenting our America's Night Out Against Crime. It's something that we do as a part of a national observation. It's gonna be at Buffington Park on 6th and Connecticut. There's always a lot of fun, a lot of activities, a lot of information, so that people will feel comfortable being outside of their homes at night. So that's the whole point of that.
I'm sorry, what time is it?
That is, National Night Out is from 5:30 to 8:30 on August 6th, and the back to school is from 8 to 12. 8 to 1? 8 to 1. And, we will stick around as long as, Councilwoman Brown allows us to stay.
Who has the information about the mosquitoes?
All right, thank you very much. Once again, I thank everybody for coming. Our next regular meeting is September 9th. If something happens, you'll get a robocall.
When, the next one, December 9th.